work to prevent transmission. That was in February, March, and April. Then they turn it around and go, oh yeah, actually, now we're just learning about this virus. We're just learning it's a novel virus.
Right.
It turns out it's not so novel because the first commercially available antibody tests were for SARS-CoV-1 that they used for COVID. It is so similar to the virus from 17 years ago that the antibody tests were for another virus. So they have almost 2 decades of research. How much more do they need to figure out exactly? What kind of director of infectious disease would not understand how viruses transmit?
A satanic one?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make much sense that as an expert, in a couple months, he would flip the script. And so what he has done, because he realizes how unprofessional that comes across, what he has done now is he has turned this into a public battle. And it's become social pressure. There's really no medical evidence that shows that masks will prevent the transmission of a virus. Period. Period. You can want there to be. You can hope that there is because you want to feel good about something you're doing, but there's no evidence, and they know there's no evidence. So what they do is they make this a moral argument. They make it about you being a good person, a good citizen, and caring about other people. And the people that are shaking their heads as they go by are looking at us like what awful people that we are. And they've been completely programmed to think that way because that's what the media is doing. So the other thing I want to say, am I good? Okay, the other thing I want to just quickly talk about is herd immunity, because this is really important. Everybody's been talking about Sweden. They've been saying Sweden has failed. They say they failed because they have a higher per million capita of deaths. But the reality is their deaths are almost zero now, and they will not have a second wave, or a third wave, or a fourth wave. They did not fail. What they did was do what nature does with a virus cycle. Okay, so this idea of herd immunity, guess what they found out with COVID-19? We might not need 60 or 70% of people to be exposed. We might only need 10 to 20%. Because we have such similarity with our T-cell immunity from prior coronaviruses. So this is actually unique. This particular virus, we don't need 70% to get it. So when everybody does those calculations, oh, you think herd immunity is a great idea, then 330 million people times 70%, all these people are going to die. We're actually almost at 10 to 20%, in fact. And it was about 15% is where they start to see the death peak decrease. That's unique. That's not the same thing that happens with a novel virus. So that just goes to show you, some people with T-cell immunity have antibodies to this without ever being exposed to it. They've never even been exposed, and they have immunity to it, which means that could be you as 40% of people in a study in Berlin. That means that you're not a threat to the public. Again, not a threat to the public. Not infectious. Don't have the capacity to be infectious. Okay, you have to understand some of these points so that when people try to come back at you, you have the ability to say them. And granted, I know you're not going to remember every single thing that I just said, but I want you to understand the reinfection idea. With Korea, they said that, oh, it turns out your antibodies aren't going to last very long and you're going to get reinfected. They apologized for that study because they said it was wrong. It turns out it was just detecting the prior infection still in the blood for the PCR test. So there is no proof you can get reinfected again. There is no proof there are asymptomatic carriers that are causing transmission either. And a new Lancet study just came out to prove lockdowns and mask mandates have not, this is a medical journal, The Lancet, have not reduced the level of critical cases and have not reduced the mortality of the coronavirus. This is a Lancet study that just came out. Lockdowns don't work, mask mandates don't work. They're not making a difference. So make sure you guys have the information. Don't just come back at somebody like, I don't agree with this because I don't, or because of my freedoms. It's not good enough. Make sure you have the ammo in your arsenal so that you can have these educated conversations with people, and make sure you're helping one person at a time learn something new about this that they won't see on mainstream media. Anyway, sorry for all the information so fast. I'm happy to be here with you guys.
All right, everybody, we have one more speaker. Thank you so much, Melissa. And then we're going to